Hello, everybody. Also, thank you for the joke, Lycan. I appreciate that. Why are ghosts bad liars? Because you can just see right through them. Turn back. Before the crowbar was invented, crows just drank at home. I mean, that's just fair. That's just so true on every level. How you doing, Lycan? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Oh. How's things? How's the streams been? How's Forbidden West been going for you? Oh, how are we doing for the... Oh, 69%. So we're about 30k away from Kingdom Hearts 1 Proud mode. I'm just in a meeting, so I should probably pay attention now. Yeah, you probably should. Go and do that meeting, buddy. Work's more important than stream. Trust me. Right. Welcome back, everybody, to the fun streams of all fun streams. Probably not, but hey. We're back with more Horizon Forbidden West. We left it. We're back exactly where we left off. Yes, Aloy is in a new outfit because we got a new legendary outfit from doing a side quest and doing all the salvage contracts. So we got a new armor set. And from doing a side quest with Eren, doing all the rebel camps, we got a legendary hunter bow. So we're going up in the world, you know. And we're level 48, so that's something, I guess. So today, I believe the plan was to do this cauldron over here. I probably should fast travel to that one because that's closer. Yeah, I'm going to fast travel to that one because that's closer. Yeah, we're going to do the cauldron, and then I think we could do the music in metal just as an errand quest, just so we've done it. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, what else is there to do? There is the enduring that we could try and do at some point. I might die a little bit later as well. But yeah, I think the main thing really is just to kind of unlock the different overrides. I'm not sure is there another cauldron? There might be another cauldron. I think. I would imagine there is, maybe. But we'll see. Alright. Hope everyone's had a good day. No? Mine was fairly busy-ish. Down and about, and then picked up some more parts for my car. And then... yeah. Had food, had a shower. All that good stuff, and here we are. I've been chilling in Jimmy's stream for a little bit, watching him play Dragon Quest XI. Does look a lot of fun, to be fair. Okay. Sid Claw Strider? Okay. 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 Let's just start grabbing, because yeah, I noticed with the Ridgewood, I've used to be on like 2k Ridgewood, but now I'm like burning through it. So we'll try and pick up as much Ridgewood as we possibly can. Oh, shelter over here. That's nice. That's very nice. I think at some point we'll probably
It looks like it's underwater and heavily guarded. What if I can get to its core? Should be able to find data to override new machines.
Burrower and Zeph. I hate those enemies with a fucking passion. $69 dudes. Dead. I'm clearly too far away.
Gliding. Hard to sneak into that cauldron without being seen. Might want to take care of these machines first.
Yeah, probably for the best. Dead. Oh, level 27 shell snapper. Like, can we not? Can we not? Acid and fire.
Shell snapper. Gotta be careful.
Ah, fuck it. Stop hitting me. Bro. How are you not on... Why aren't you, like, inflamed? Thank you. Jesus. I've gone through 10 things already. Literally fucking 10. Okay. No, wasn't really the right angle, but okay, fine. Come on, behave. There's always these enemies that give me a massive headache. Okay. Don't want to hit, but I hit something. Oh, fuck off. Like, fucking Shell Snappers, Shadow the Hedgehog doing his Chaos Blasts. It's nobody's fucking business. But to be fair, I could use a smoke bomb. Out of here. Puzzled. Oh, look how much health I just gained. Get out of here, bitch. Alright. Okay, I think we're all good. Yeah, I use up so much more medicine. I just see what this cauldron's called. Oh, that's amazing. Kappa. That's glorious. This cauldron is called Kappa. It says Kappa emotes when you need them. Hey, what's up? Wait, where's this Snapmore that you're seeing and I'm not seeing? Hello? Hello? Cauldron Kappa. That's fucking glorious. Oh, there it is. So where have I gotta go? So that's the way I came in. Okay, so behind me? Yeah, okay. Proper Metal Gear Solid shit this is now, isn't it? Dun 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 dun. Ba-da-bum bum 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 bum. Ba-dum bum.
Looks like I can swim down from here.
Yeah, I gotta go. Oh, I gotta go to the middle, haven't I? That's what I gotta do. Ah, okay. I see. Override. Just gonna drain the water? No. Yeah, fine. I got no spare medicine berries, but it's fine. It's fine. Swim, Aloy, swim. You got a rebreather. Come on. Come on. Haven't got all day. Yeah. Good job it's going upwards and not down, because I would have been fucked. Cauldron fucking... Cauldron Kappa. Oh my god, this is the best cauldron of all time. mean, it's going to be a this one's going to be a troll, isn't it? It's going to troll me to so many levels. Actually ridiculous.
That crate. Might be able to use it to climb over the ledge.
Okay, yeah. No. I'll let you like. Okay.
Take a step back. Should be able to climb up now. No, you
Yeah.
can't. Ah. I guess that's not gonna work. What now?
There's probably an alternative way to climb somewhere.
Maybe there's a way to climb up around here. There's gotta be a way out of this.
Oh look, there's a little pipe there. Hang on, if I dump it in the water, I can jump on it in the current. Yeah. Pull it in the water.
Incoming.
Fuck off. Apex snipes now. I'm busy. Come on, dude.
Current's moving the crate.
No, it's not. it's not. It's really not.
Now's my chance.
Yoink. Boom. Nice. And that's a machine kill. We not, please. Ow. Ow. Why have I lost like 150 health? Okay. Why is my defense just so shit now? What the fuck is going on? Bro, can we not, please? Fucking die.
That was fun. Now, back to finding a way out of here. If I get on the crate, I can let the current carry me to the rail.
Yeah, see? Smart, 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 smart. Yum, so smart. Yum, so smart. S-M-R-T. I mean, S-M-A-R-T.
There we go.
Let's go. Aha. Medicinal flowers. I love you so much. That's a bar, isn't it? Yep. God fucking. Oh, it's one way to get up here.
Time to catch a ride, I guess.
What the hell? Oh, nice. Gave me medicine things. I love you.
There's the core. Now I just have to get to it.
Huh.
Maybe I can glide to the platform. that platform.
Fuck. Why is everything breaking on me? Damn it. Damn it, Aloy. See, it's trolling. This is why it's called Kappa, because all the beams are like, You thought this was easy? No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
There's not a lot of room for a fight down here.
Yeah, well, it's a fight they're gonna have to get. Fight they're gonna fucking get. Really? Dead? Dead. Yes. You know the cauldron? I sure am, Jax, I'm sure I am. Yes, I'm doing Cauldron Kappa, because, obviously... Obviously we're doing one called Kappa. How are you doing though, Jax? Hope you're doing okay. The underwater one, yes. It's the underwater cauldron. I had to fight a shell back to get in this bloody place. That was a nightmare. See, all swings and roundabouts, you know? Swings and roundabouts. Doing, doing, doing. You good to have a shower before stream started? Yeah, I had a shower as well before I started stream. Also. It's very nice. Glad you're doing well.
There's a note over there. Too bad I can't override it from here.
Too bad. Hey, don't break, don't break, don't break, don't break. Thank you.
Can't reach the core from here. I'll have to keep going and hope there's another path to it. Looks like this whole place is some kind of pump. The question is, pump for what?
Good question, Ayla. Good question. Pump it up. Bonk. Are you not dead? There you go, thank you. Not today, Satan. Not today. It's close.
I can use them to climb up. Just have to turn them on. I just need to move further into the cauldron. I'm gonna get rid of that chamber.
Whee!
This is better than fighting.
Yes. Hmm. Nice.
Now I'm here.
Nope, not today. See, there's a shell over there I can use.
Let's see what this does.
Oh, override the lower pump. Raise water level. Ooh. Okay. Flooding the place. I bet.
Some water. At this rate, I'd be able to swim my way to those overrides.
There you go. Oh, I need to take care of him, I suppose.
I'll put these in my pack.
Okay. I'm guessing I could have across there, maybe? I don't know. Oh, hang on. Ah, okay. I need that.
The spot?
He said to come out. Oh. Fuck, no. Hey, boy. Hello. You're in Aberdeen on Saturday to find some games? Ooh, nice. Anything in particular, or
Rail.
just browsing?
Doesn't look like I can reach it. I need to find something that'll help me get to that. Maybe now I'll be able to reach that tunnel.
We're really drowning the place. Huh. Look at all the water.
And the water stopped. Doesn't look like I can climb up to that tunnel yet. Maybe there's something I can use to reach that rail on the wall.
Yeah, it's called a shell.
Don't think I'm getting this thing out of here. There has to be another way to get to that rail. Maybe if I lower the water, I can place the crate where I need it.
Okay. How am I going to get back up top?
I can lower the water level with this. Might help me with my crate problem.
I don't know what will be there, so it'll be a crapshoot. I'm with you, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Should be able to move that crate now.
Yeah, but how am I gonna... But how am I meant to get it? Hoping something different, though. Me too. Well, yeah, I hope so. I just realized you can grapple point up. Careful, Aloy. Careful.
That crate might be useful.
Oh, it will be, alright. It will be. I'm guessing they'll bring it, like, here.
That should do it. I need to raise the one.
Oink. I didn't even need to climb up those vents after all. Cool.
Here goes nothing.
Good old cauldron kappa.
Should be able to use that crate to come out of here now.
Nice. And we're out of here. Now we're back at...
It's busy.
Would Apex Shellwalker? Weak against acid. Can you not do that, please? Thank you. Yeah, I know, I took your thing off. Took your...
Looks like they called for backup.
Oh, 366. That is... Oh, you broke it, you little... Oh, what the, whoa, 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 whoa. What the fuck's shooting at me now? Oh, fucking here, there, and everywhere. Okay, cool, cool, cool. No, you quite literally fuck off. Yep. Jesus, what? Calm. Fucking calm down, dude. Calm down.
Gotta find a way back to the core.
Jeez. Just felt like that little 30 seconds, it was just like, right, everyone's going to throw projectiles and, like, attack at the exact same time. Let's just really cause absolute carnage. Because why the fuck not, right? At this point, just why the fuck not? You know. Throw my brain into overdrive, it's all good. I take it this is the first thing you're doing this stream, or have I missed something? No, this is the first thing I've done. This is the first thing I've done. You haven't missed anything else, so don't worry. I was going to do this, and then I was going to do a gauntlet run, I think? Race, maybe? Oh no, I was going to do the metal, go back to Scraping Spear, because there was an errand mission I've got to do, I can do. Yeah, calm your tits, crab. Calm your tits. They have to really try get their hardest to kill you since you're a lot higher leveled. Yeah, it seems that way. I don't know.
Another crate. Just what I need.
I feel like though, like even if I was lower level, they would just murdered me on sight anyway.
That's it. I can climb up from here.
Okay. What else for me to? Oh, hang on. Hold the phone. Not bad. Not bad. Some gold ingots. That's always nice. La dee la da da. La da dee. Okay, this is my way out. I hope. I pray. Okay. Full medicine pouch. Awesome. Get out of here. Or not. Okay, so that is not the way out. Oh, it's over here, that's why. All I do each night is pray.
Carriers from here.
Holding my phone right now, so type in this chat. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. Appreciate it. Are you playing anything at the moment, or just chilling?
That's new. Must be getting ready to release it. I need to get to the core fast.
Just that. Oh, nice. The borrower dead. I just said that because I just said that. Just said to. What the fuck? Okay, my brain's just gone a mush, I think, trying to work that out, but okay. Lights are on, but nobody's home. You just said that because you're holding your phone? Or you're trying to type while holding your phone? I'm confused. What is that? Yes, it's just. Ooh, gimme all of that. Oh.
Fight that thing in all this water. I need to hurry.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna, oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Okay. Well, shit.
That thing's not gonna let me get anywhere near the core.
Ow! Help-moi s'il vous plaît. Help-moi s'il vous plaît.
I need to find a way to the room I was in before. It's the only way to lower the water in here.
There's gotta be a button around here somewhere. Said to hold your phone when you were going into the alcove, so I said to say I'm holding my phone to chat. Did I say that? Oh. Oh. Okay. My bad. Sometimes I just don't even know what I say half the time. Is it above me? Oh. That's the core. Okay. Okay. My bad. I wasn't too sure. I was utterly confused, so that's probably why. Playing Concord. Nice. No, 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 no. The fuck was that? Oh, this one sucks. I can't fucking do anything. Okay.
Saw that note before. Maybe you can help me out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. That's the one I climbed under. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Override. Come on. Anytime now would be nice.
And I'm back here. Notes in this area should help me lower the water level. It's the only way I'm gonna get rid of that machine.
No, you're not. No, no. Go away. Imagine trying to do this cauldron without the breathing apparatus. Oh my god, I would literally cry. That would be awful. Like, genuinely, that would be awful. There's no two ways about it. Like, I think could it even be done? Probably not, I'd imagine.
Here we go.
Alright, alright. Well, you little shit. Oh, alright, yep, definitely didn't dive there, that's fine. I'm gonna get rid of that because it's pissing me off. Stop spraying me with your water. There we go. Bitch. No, fuck off. Now you're drenched. R. Please. Give me some room. Fair. Just totally fair. I'm gonna jump. Why didn't I jump? Nice. It can be done? Wow. That's wild that it can be done. You'd be on such a timer. Like, that'd be crazy.
I'll keep some extra on hand.
How's Concord going? Alright. You'll ride this core.
Out in the wild.
Been going great? Nice. Good to hear. Good to hear. Well, that's all the is that all the cauldrons done? Or is that it? Oh, Rock Breaker. Nice. Tide Ripper. Oh, I can override a Tide Ripper. That's kind of nuts. A Tremor Tusk as well.
More overrides I need to restore.
I need to restore the Thunderjaw. So the Fang. Oh, these are all the big boy ones. Dreadwing. Okay. Slaughter Spine. That sounds horrible. Slaughter Spine. That actually sounds horrible. And now I've just had that in my mind. I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to meet these at some point, aren't I? Well, shit. Right, let's get out of here. I think, is that all cauldrons? Just 4? Is there more? Oh, that was level 40. Okay, that's probably, that might explain why it was a little bit more challenging.
This cauldron must have been pumping water in and out to release a flow of machines.
Nice.
Smart.
Okay, got skill points. Got some XP as well. Okay. Yeah, we were gonna do music in metal. That's what we do. Ah, we go. Nice. Ah, it's a toucan. Or pelican. Is it a toucan? Ah, ah. Boom. That was a goal. Pelican, yeah, pelican. Nice. It is a pelican. Okay, so Golden Spear. Let's go.
Don't think May you crush your enemies. You owe me 20 shards.
Hey,
Hello, Hunter. Which I can sell. Vanguard bow, yep. Not anymore. Not anymore. $400 shards. Nice. You've won 20 out of 47 games. Damn, let's go.
are you looking to trade?
Only 50% in there.
Aloy, wasn't expecting to see you in Scalding Spear.
Ah, Sakura.
I hear you
Oh,
fixed the wound. And stopped the war within our clan?
I was just lucky your commander was willing to listen.
Wasn't luck that took down the bulwark? Or fought off Regala?
Mhm.
What's next? Saving the world?
Something like that.
If I'm lucky.
Have you been to Plainsong? Did you see Corey?
I haven't had the chance.
Oh,
At the ready, soldiers.
What's going on?
my squad's being sent on patrol northwest of here. I won't be able to see Corey for a long time. I wonder if you could let him know. I don't want him to think I've abandoned him.
We are moving out.
Please.
If I find my way to Plainsong, I'll let him know.
Sakura, I will leave your scab ass behind.
Thank you, Aloy.
The music in metal. Otokora in Plainsong. Do just that.
May your blade be bright.
Pardon me.
So, are you there? I'm in Plainsong and it's amazing. It's
Oh,
like
shit.
You said the fields are back in bloom.
And we have you to thank for it.
Oh, look at the look at that. Holy shit, it's all green.
Taru would still be starving, under siege by machines.
Let's fucking go.
I'm just glad it worked out.
Hell yeah.
Yes. First thing song. Next, the world.
Haha. That's cool. That's really fucking cool. Ah, it's Corey. Ah, this guy. Hey, bud.
It sounds pleasing.
But not right.
Aloy, I hear
Excellent
you've
Corey.
been making quite the impression on the clan lands. Saving the desert clan from itself, forcing the commander Takote out of hiding, defending the grove from Regala.
I didn't do it alone.
The humble words of a true warrior.
Your sister sent me. Her squad's been assigned further west, so she won't be able to come see you, Corey. She wanted to make sure you knew.
That sounds like my sister.
Is something wrong?
No. Yes. There's this song I want to play, one of my own making, but it's hopeless. I'm just never going to get the sound right.
What makes you say that?
Back in the clan lands, The Sky Clan built instruments that cast sound to sky and across the mountains. They use long-leg throats to make them bellow with the sound of metal. It's how they communicate between villages. Combining that sound with the Utarus would create a melody unlike anyone's ever heard before. But I won't be hunting for any long legs anytime soon.
For now, you should try the Metal Weaver again. They might have some new piece you can use.
Right.
This song means a lot to him, doesn't it?
It does, which is why I'm getting him that machine part. It'll be a surprise. The Utaru say that's the best way to receive a gift.
Is there a long leg around here?
As it happens, one has been troubling some villages southwest of here. You be doing me and Plain Song a favor by getting rid of it. Interested?
Maybe.
Maybe. Let's try this now.
I'll make my way down there. I'd like to help.
I appreciate that. I'll head southwest and see if I can pick up a trail.
No, that's cool. The music in metal. Let's do this. I mean, this is like a level 20 quest, so we should be okay. But you never know. Oh, ad break. Apologies. I'll just be running for a minute, and then when I get close, I will hide. Actually, it gives me a chance to pop to the toilet, actually. So I will do that now while I can, while their ads are running. So I'll be right back.
And under the tree. Explosion. Avoid the snowmobile. Explosion. Explosion. Smash into the barn.
Hate my life. I genuinely hate my life. Okay. Whether I'm actually going to do this is another question. But here goes.
Doesn't look good.
Well, hi. Did it just jump into the... It just fucking yeeted itself. Bruh. Did anyone... I'm
While grinding, pressing the circle button will make me do a 180 to gain a burst of speed. That's the doctor's airship.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Damn.
Not here.
I hate that. I hate that. You go to light dash, you only do one ring, and you just fly off in the distance. That sucks. It's not happening much to me. Did anyone just see that? Did I just... Was it just me? I'm gonna... Hold on.
Dirty panties. You got some dirty peenies I can smell?
Why would it put it anywhere else? No, that's not what we need to do. I thought that's what we need to do. Never mind. Oh, there's probably a button there.
Where's the terminus?
I feel like I need to fall down here.
Explosion. Smash through the snowman. Jump off the roof. Hit the microlight. Stay ahead of the snowmobile.
Oh,
Explosion.
is this the one? Of course it isn't, because the guy in the fucking snowmobile decides to be a dick. Just fucking just let that gorilla eat it, bitch. No, no, not the ice gun. I grabbed his head and I was like, no. So I gotta go back to Midnight Mountain now. No, it must be more than 120. Because, yeah, there's like loads of levels left to go. Haha. Let's go. Second try. I did a thing, I think. I did a ting. My mind is telling me no. Oh no.
Because it eventually led me to knowing legends such as Welsh, Jill, and everyone else. I appreciate that, Jill, buddy. I don't think I'm top. I don't think I'm anywhere near the top of that list, but you know. I mean, in as esteemed company as Jill, this you're amazing. I mean,
There he goes.
What have you done to him?
There he
Oh,
goes.
oh. Oh, that never gets old. That never gets old.
Done to him?
Ah! Even I can do a better scream than that. Ah! See? Done it. Nailed it. Nailed it in one. What was I gonna do? Well, I was gonna unlock all the weapon techniques, wasn't I? That was what I was gonna do. Like a trap? Yeah, why not? We got triple shredder. Then we've got held spike. Okay, cool. Cool. Right, welcome back, thanks everybody. Welcome back. Let's.
Aloy, nice of you to join me.
Oh,
Could use the backup.
that's a kill. Did you see that? Yes, I did. I did see that. That was part of the premium package, isn't it? The classic catalog. The 3 Time Splitters games are on there. Talk to you? Hello? Are we waiting on something? Oh, Bighorn Sheep did. It did. And now talk to you? Hello? Why is the prompt not coming? Okay, this is fine. I guess I have to refresh or something. Hold on. Let me run to this campfire. It was nice. Nice little campfire at the top of the hill. Quick save. Manual save. Level 48. Love to see it. Too bad they have PS2 first-person shooting aiming, which means it's not so good. Yeah, well, you know, that comes with the territory of a PS2 game, I suppose. So, I mean, I'm not expecting it. You shouldn't expect it to be amazing, to be honest. I appreciate for what it was at the time. Okay. Has that made a difference? Oh, he's moved now. Okay. Maybe now I can talk to him? There we go. Right, so he was stuck.
You arrived not a moment too soon, Huntress. I thought I heard a Longleg's call, so I hastened to follow, but I was caught unaware by these machines instead. There it is again.
Let's go find it.
I bet it's up the hill I was just up. Because why wouldn't it be at this point, right?
Sounds like our long legs at the top of that cliff.
Shocker. It's not the same cliff, but it's fine.
Oh, looks like we're climbing.
We'll make quick work of it.
Oh, I'm sure.
This reminds me of my early days as a veteran. Always running off to hunt in the wilds. As far away from plain song as possible.
What changed?
I saw my first Utaru students become fighters worthy of any Tanakh clan. I felt useful, like I belonged. And so plain song became home.
Aww.
I'm sure Corey will find his place too.
I hope so.
Me too. Me too.
Almost there. It sounds like that long leg isn't alone up there.
There's our long leg. And the Utaru
Using
fell.
shotgun,
Might be
huh?
best to silence it before it can call reinforcements.
Big shock ammo. Oh no, ice, 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 Aloy.
We're in trouble.
There we go.
Make sure these machines don't endanger the villagers.
Right. Follow my lead.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hiya! Did. It did.
On you, Aloy.
Whoa! No, thank you. I want no part of that. I want that though. Boom! Get the fuck out. Yeah, I will say, now that I've unlocked pretty much all the abilities and passive boosts and stuff, the combat in this is so much better than Zero Dawn. And it should be, really. But yeah, there's definitely quality of life improvements. Well, not quality of life, just improvements in general on the game compared to Zero Dawn. I think I prefer the first.
Show me our prize, Huntress.
I preferred the so far. I think I prefer the story of Zero Dawn, but that could change.
Many thanks, Aloy. Without you, I might have been in trouble.
But then I really like the world, this world compared to Zero Dawn.
The villagers felled by these machines need to have their seeds buried properly first.
Are you sure?
Tell Corey I better be the first to hear that song of his when I return.
I do like all the tribes and stuff, and how deep, like, you know, a lot of side quests and stuff in here. So there is also that. So I think the overall world is probably better in this, and then the combat and the gameplay and stuff, and the visuals. Oh, it's a black box. Okay. Nice. You saved our lives. We're eternally grateful. We have tended to focus on the cycles a lot of the time, so you tend to experience the story more closer together. It's been very gapped out. Yeah, that is true. That is very true. I've done like 1 or 2 main missions and done a lot of side quests. So no, you're not wrong there. I think I was a bit more main story focused in. I think it was a lot more main story focused in Zero Dawn, which Yeah, I think because I played it before, I was kind of like, oh, let's just go through it again. But with this, I kind of just want to explore everything. I want to, like, you know, just absorb everything.
Aloy? I thought you had left Plainsong.
Well, I thought about it, but then I'd have to carry this long leg throat all by myself.
You found
Jax did.
that old man?
Can still hear perfectly fine. So let's hear it.
I'm gonna need some help. Aloy, can you take this to the workbench, please? You won't have to do much, I promise.
Okay.
You'll see a wide...
Core's modified instrument. Weapon upgrade? Oh, wildfire hunter bow. Let's go. Yeah, new slot. Let's go. Oh, okay. So next level. Oh, I can upgrade it again. I can unlock acid. Advanced acid hunter arrows. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're cooking. We're cooking. We're cooking. So that's nearly maxed out. Purge. That one's nearly maxed out. Okay. Frostclaw sack webbing. I need for that. A Scorcher scanning ear. Okay, for the Seeker Hunter bow. And then the Sunshot Hunter bow, I need 2 green shine clusters. Ooh, okay, I need to find them out in the wild. Stuck.
on the instrument. That piece should fit right in.
I think it's good to go.
Can you tell what it is yet? Sounds beautiful. Does look like he's holding an ocarina at the bottom of that, by the way. Nice little, another little nod to Legend of Zelda. I wonder if he's doing like one of the like the Song of Time or something like that, or Zelda's Lullaby. That would have been quite cool. Like if he did a remix of that. Doo, doo, doo.
A song of
Sorry.
two peoples indeed.
Thank you, Aloy. My debt to you seems to only grow.
Hearing that?
Should have done Song of Storms.
That may be.
Do 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 do.
May the wings of the 10 hearten your step.
Oh yeah. Level 49. Let's go. Da 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 do 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 do. Okay, that's so machine. Fully done. I've got everything on that one. I'm missing. I need 9 skill points for here for infiltrator. Another. I need 12 for survivor, I think. Hunt is all done. Trapper's all done. And I need another 6 for warrior. Yeah, let's say a few. The fact this game is a PlayStation game would most definitely make that not a thing. Oh, I know. But then you say that, but the amount of studios and games and companies that are like, yeah, we took inspiration from, you know, this game or that game, or, you know, one of the devs was like a really big fan of, you know, you wanted to put like an ocarina of it because that was really cool, the music, and, you know, you never know. Like I say, you would like to say no, but you never know with that kind of thing. It could easily be a little nod to Ocarina of Time.
Which I think it'd be nice because it just shows that, you know, game studios they appreciate, you know, different game developers and studios and stuff. You know, like they appreciate Nintendo, they appreciate Xbox, stuff like that. Even if it's just something little small and potentially insignificant as that, still a nice little nod. So I think you know what? I think I don't hunting grounds. I'm gonna skip for now. Let's go. Let's do some main quests. Let's go to Fall's Edge. Stop by here first of all. You can do subtle references, but music reviews, something that could be a problem. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't. I know that would be more of a problem for sure, but like the fact that there was an ocarina on that instrument.
This must be Fall's Edge. Katala said I could resupply here, then head for the Quinn
You know, like that's an Easter egg in itself. I was more mentioning that than the actual song. You know what I mean? I know I mentioned like they could do like, you know, remixes of like, you know, Ocarina of Time. But yeah. Oh, I can buy. You know what? Yeah. Because these might give me things for pouches upgrades. And I've got so many metal shards, I don't mind spending them at this point. Yeah, that probably. Yeah, I mean, music definitely probably at that point crosses a certain line for sure. But like just the fact that there was an ocarina on that instrument was pretty cool in itself.
Okay, with Fall's Edge behind me, just gotta head west until I reach the coast and the Quinn Ferry.
I probably could have not spent all those, but it's fine. It's that I got 10 pouch upgrades now. That's mental. Shredder Shrap Satchel. Light arrows. Bomb satchels. I need a peccary bone. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can get a peccary bone. Look how much ammo crafting I can do now. Bayonetta on the Wii U has Nintendo-themed outfits for Bayonetta. Obviously, that would be something that wouldn't be a thing on the PS4 version. No, unless probably Nintendo would duly compensate for it. But yeah, you can't imagine that would be happening. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm doing this. Hey, Sophie. Welcome back. Good to see you. I think that's all of them. I think that's all of them. Okay. I can craft more potions now. Nice. More ones. Yeah, I kind of want to upgrade my hunter bow, hunter arrows. I need a peccary bone. Okay. I've probably got next to no. I've gone from like 18k to 4. Nice, good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Herbalist. I got it from the herbalist, didn't I? Yeah. So is it peccary bone I need? 2 of those. Wow. Thank you very much. Food? Yeah, no, I'd rather hunter arrows. That's my main go-to. Nice. I need 2 peccary hides for the hunter quiver arrow. Is it 5 is maxed out? I think it's 5, isn't it? I think 4 or 5 is the maximum you can get. 60 arrows though? That's nice. That's real nice. Oh, actually, what was I needing again? When you're trying to get resources for a weapon or outfit upgrade, and you can select that resource request. Oh yeah, I know. And you can make it a job. Yeah, I know. It's just I try and get everything so that I can upgrade more stuff at the same time. I'm covering all bases, if that makes sense. Was it peccary hides I need? 2 peccary hides I need. My brain's just gone to mush. Hang on, let me check again. Under arrows. Yeah, 2 peccary hides. Cool. Sweet. I like to think my planet Earth. Hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep. 'Cause every... Okay, that's maxed out now. Nice. So level 4 is the highest level you can get. Awesome. That's good to know. And so, yeah, all of this now. Oh, instead of 14, I got 30. Actually, I could probably open my stash up and have a load of hunter arrows I can just pour in. Right? Not so much, maybe. That's still good, though. The fact that I've gone from, like, I've maxed out my... I should do this more often, really. But, you know, I've been fine up until now. But it's also nice to have a lot of arrows in the quiver, you know? Yeah, look at that. I can have 50 normal arrows. It was like 20 before. Wild. Is it a medicine pouch? Is that a thing? I feel like that's a thing. Is that a thing? Or is that not a thing? No. Okay. No, it's just potions. Okay. No, yeah, because that's the only way you can get that is from skills or outfits. I would like to upgrade this at some point, though. But I need 2 Dreadwing primary nerves and 2 Apex Elemental Claw Shredder hearts. Cool. Okay. But the damage, though. Instant brittle chance, agility damage, overdraw damage, reload speed increased. Aerial damage, enemy damage as well. Does look nice. And also like my armor, my outfits. I would like to upgrade that as well. But then that's also dread. I need 2. So I need 4 Dreadwing primary nerves and 5 metal fangs. So I need to be Dreadwing hunting or farming. So, but that's for another time. Now that we've got our stuff stashed, we've got our upgrades for Rain, come on, work. Now that we've got our upgrades for our hunter bow and all other like pouches and stuff, and we've got extra potions, so that's always handy. Actually, do I need to make anything? I got medium ones. I don't need a craft. I can't craft. I got a cleanse potion. I can't craft. Because it's a potion. Drop shield, I can make one of those.
Rain. I feel the pressure building to it.
Fast travel. That's fast travel. I know there's a hunting ground right there, but we'll leave that for now. Let's fast travel to here. And let's continue with the main story. We might get a couple of quests done by the looks of it. So we only did about an hour and a half worth of side stuff. So, oh, I need to make fast travel packs. Ding 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 ding. Nice. Okay. Let's go find Alva. Probably around here somewhere, I'd imagine. Dun, 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 dun. One more tonic over there. That's a brittle back sight. Wait, is she hit?
Okay. Time to cross the water, look for land.
Oh yeah, there's the Quen outpost. Okay.
No one here. That's strange. Well,
Oh wait,
nothing's stopping
slaughter spine site? That's like right there.
me. Taking a boat.
Oh, oh, you're a mean motherfucker. Huh. Yeah, you are not nice. That's basically a Thunderjaw, but looks more streamlined, I guess. Hold on. I want to tag you. Come on. Please. I want to mark you for... and run away as soon as I can. There we go. Oh, level 45. Okay, level 45. Yeah, don't fire right now. Yeah, I'm not going to. I wanted to just have it in my machine catalog, so I don't have to be... I'm not panicking on what things that are... It's weak to and stuff, so... That's all. And it's just nice to have it in the catalog as unlocked. Guess we're just using the boat. So we're swimming. We're swimming. We're rowing to the Isle of Spires, by the looks of it. Oh, it's nighttime. All of a sudden. Suddenly, darkness. I will say how Aloy is keeping her balance so well. In never mind. No, in turbulent waters is quite
Pushing me south.
good.
There's no choice but to head for that beach.
Oh look, there's just happens to be probably where you end up going anyway. They'll be like, huh? What's a boat doing here?
No one's guarding this side of the ferry either. Where are the Quen?
They're all dead.
Landfall, I guess. I better go find it. Should be.
That's my guess. They're all dead. If you don't see them first straight away, they're probably either all dead or they're hiding. There's probably like 2 of them left, including Alva. I mean, yeah, to be true, yeah, she had to escape the flood somehow. Yeah, that's true. It's very true. Ah, okay. This is how we get to the tall neck. Is it with me doing the tall neck now? Probably, right? I would have thought. Yes, definitely. Yeah. When I said it, I was like, that's probably a silly question. I probably should do it anyway, you know? I just thought this might be the one like the desert where there's like it's like story locked or something. Oh, there's stalker sites. Ooh, lovely. Understood. But yeah, I won't purchase any like materials now, so I can save a bit of metal shards on that going forward. I might like, you know, later on I might go to like a scrapper and like see what stuff they got.
Another tall neck.
You know what scrapper, you know, hearts and stuff, you know, machine parts they have, but apart from that I won't keep, you know, only for like upgrading things. If I can. I won't do what I just did there and be like, oh, I'm just going to buy a load of materials that I know that are useful. Hi. Well, you weren't going to leave me alone, were you? That is 4. 4 by my standards. Okay. Nice.
There's the tall neck that signaled my focus.
There is the taunt. Oh, yeah, but look at it. It's in the middle of the water.
Dogs. Be careful. Something seems to have knocked the tall neck down. Maybe the current. Better take a look at the damage.
Better. Guessing I have to go underneath for this. Yep. Oh, stingray. Luckily, Aloy can breathe underwater. Exactly. Yeah, luckily we can breathe underwater now.
Is that what the Glinthawk was carrying? I'll be able to find the parts of their nest.
We're gonna fight some Glinthawks. Okay. Ooh, let's go. Well, considering they're frost Glinthawks, I mean, I should bloody expect fire to be good. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh no, you've been hit with fire. Oh, what a beautiful shame. And you're dead. Nice. My condolences to you. Oh, wow. That was insane. Not sure if I was meant to do that, but okay. I'll take it. Even if you did the Demeter quest first, this story can only be done after you do all 3. Ah, okay. Okay, that's fair. Oh, it's a leap. I mean, it makes sense, because that's how it's kind of been structured, isn't it? Oh, the fact that I have 30 elemental arrows and not like 12 is like so nice. Come on. There you go. There you go. There you go. Yeah, these glint hawks are very low leveled because they're just dying to like
I'm looking one down, one
little wind, a breath of a arrow, and it's just like, yeah, they're dead. Okay, cool. But, hey, I'm not complaining. I'll take it, you know. I'll take those wins. I'll take them somehow. Okay, how am I going to get over there? Oh, I probably just have to swim across? Oh look, snapmores. Love it. Lovely chapply. Yeah, there's probably a way to climb up from here. See, look at that. Brute force. Brute bloody force.
right.
Isn't great? They die with a hair's breadth of. It's like da 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 da. That's.
Guess we're done here. Now, I can pick up that part I saw back at the nest.
Dun 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 dun. Bum 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 bum.
The second tall neck part. I should get these back to the top.
Bum 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 bum. Whee! And this is like, hey, you can go back this way. Like, thanks. Appreciate that. Oh. So what you were meant to do is pull that crate. And I'm like, I'll just jump around. Like, thanks. I'll just negate of the puzzle. It's fine. Did you hear what the song is going to be for the theme of Bash at Berlin? I have not. No. What is the theme going to be, or rumored to be? Whoa, Aloy, calm down. Wait, do I have to climb onto it, or what are we doing here? I thought that the machine parts were at the bottom. Is it Rammstein? Or Rammstein, whatever you want to call it. It's Ratata. Oh, it's Ratata by Baby Metal? That's kind of sick, actually. That's a good song. Actually, I've actually listened to that a couple times. It's such a good song. And, you know, Baby Metal's cool. Right?
That should do it.
Baby Metal's always cool. Oh, it's alright, you're underwater. Just kind of, that's it. There you go.
Welcome back. I just need to find a way to climb good.
Can't I just like swim up to it? No? Okay. Yeah, because if I could swim up to it, it would be so much easier, wouldn't it? So, can't be that. Can't be that. Why would it be that? Wait, I'm trying to realize where I could actually go. Wait, what's its route it's taking? I can't even tell what route it's taking. Wait, where's it going? Oh, okay, it's going this way.
If I can get on land, I might be able to jump onto that
That's kind of my strategy here, Aloy. That's kind of my strategy. But I need to get to land. That is the problem. There's a lot of ladders, but they're all out of reach. Shocking. Hmm. Okay, that kind of works.
I should be able to jump onto the tonic from here.
Oh, nice. Sweet. Lower the ladder. Dunk. That's all I can... Like here, maybe? Oh, you...
Made it. Now to climb up to its head.
Just fucking full send it. Yeah, just stay there. It's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah, nice. Let's go. Let's go. So we just got one left. Nice. On the map. Oh, look at that. Oh, literally. This is like a whole island by itself. Huh. Okay. That's pretty cool. Okay. And then we go to like Legacy Landfall. Sweet. Okay. I can fast travel back and forth now, which is lovely. That screams to me the home base of the Zeniths. I don't know why, it just does. Never mind. Who knows? Hang on. Right, let's go to Legacy Landfall then. I'm gonna have to override a mount, aren't I? I don't think I've got him because I haven't got a mount here. There, shucks. Okay.
So these are the ruins of San Francisco. The entire city of Cleveland Towers. And somewhere buried out here is Thebes. I hope Alva and Quinn can help me find it.
Me too. Me too. Okay. Well, there's a charger site here. I could try and get one. I may as well. I mean, I may as well. It's about to start. Ads are going to start in about 5 minutes.
Could fry that machine with shock ammo.
Or I could just have it as a mount. That makes a bit more sense. It's a new day, new generation. Oh, oh, oh. What am I now? Oh, oh, oh. Okay, I'll go that way. Yeah, though. Whee! That's a shortcut. Saw one. Let's go. Yeah, okay. We're here, we're here, we're here.
It must be the entrance to landfall up ahead. Stay here.
Is that her? The living ancestor.
Aye.
Miner wasn't lying. She looks.
Oh, it's a legacy reference.
This is
Gotcha.
landfall, right? I'm looking for Alva.
Overseer Bohai ordered us to invite you before him should you approach. Please, come with me. Go. Let him know we're coming.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, with him and then Ted DiBiase's Junior, whatever his name is. I came for money, got the cash. Yeah, it was him. Yeah, so it was him, Brandy, and Cody. Well, this is nice.
Overseer Bohai, a stranger, just walked through the gate.
And we just let her in, because why the fuck not? You know?
I knew Alva would not dare lie. You do look like Sobek.
Hi.
Is
Nice to meet you too.
here? I need to talk to her.
I will consider your request once it is determined what you are.
Okay.
A living ancestor as Alva believes, or a threat lurking in such a guise.
I am no threat, okay? Back on the mainland, your soldiers fired on me without warning.
So you say, infidel. None of those you engaged survived to bear witness.
I held off on your squad when...
That's gonna be Alva, isn't it? Oh no, it's some other dude. Why does he look familiar?
May I present our honored CO?
So, here she is, our great mystery.
Yeah, she is.
What have you divined? What is she?
A mystery indeed, my CO.
Say CO is like CEO.
And yet know nothing of our ways. Are we to believe that a living ancestor was born to this wretched land? An ocean apart from the realm of the chosen? And if so, to what end? I cannot answer. Only she can. But I warn you, no falsehood will satisfy us. Now speak. Why are you here? What is your purpose?
I'm looking for a place called Thebes.
And what do you seek there?
Alva told me a little bit about what you're after. I guess you could say I want what you want. A way to heal the world.
As I suspected. Tell her.
We found Thebes, the final resting place of Ted Pharaoh's secrets. It isn't far, but the way is closed to us. Machine attacks have cut us off from the site. Diviner Alva is there, along with a complement of diggers and soldiers.
Is she all right?
Our scouts tell us that a machine has our people pinned behind their defenses, but they're holding out.
Yeah, that's a big ass fucking jug.
Machines, huh? I can help with that.
Alva told us that you are indeed formidable.
But I have a few questions first.
We will answer what we can.
I wonder if he's like Ted Pharaoh's like descendant. He looks like a prick.
Thebes.
So you found Thebes.
Yes, it is. It is Greek.
The ancestors
Greek
revealed themselves
descendant,
after we made landfall,
or Greek origins.
almost a year ago. Through a scrap of ancient data discovered by Alva and verified by myself. It contained details about the construction of a great underground palace.
Where exactly?
Close. Beneath the Great Pyramid in the ruins beyond.
Figures. Ted loves his pyramids. Have you been inside?
No. That has been a problem, one of many.
And
Oh,
we will
that's... I will pause it. Whilst this is happening. Just checking. Pardon me. Just checking who's online, that's all. Just potential raid options. Great Pyramids of San Francisco, right? That's what Ted Farrar did. He built his underground pyramid palace underneath pyramids in San Francisco. That's one way to do it, I suppose. Should have been, at least it wasn't like Egypt. That would have been a long trek. A very long trek. Okay, ads are about to finish soon. Okay. There we go. Right. Welcome back, everybody. The ads should be all done now. So, which is very nice. Right, let's continue on where we left off.
solve them all in time. Getting back to the site is the one at hand. I hope you're as effective against machines as Diviner Alva suggested.
What exactly are you looking for inside Thebes? I thought Alva brought back the data you needed.
We risked much to cross the ocean. Therefore, we must unearth every possible link to the legacy while we are here, especially one as important as Thebes.
We will not sail back until I have plundered its secrets.
Yeah, and he's got the look of like Ted Farrow's test tube baby.
So, Alva reports to you.
I was chosen by my colleagues on the board of overseers to supervise data retrieval on this.
I've got a hunch. Say, don't tell me if I'm right or wrong. Just I got a
You're
hunch.
in charge of the expedition.
He is far more than that. You are addressing the cousin of the Emperor of the Quinn.
Oh.
Heir to the vast holdings of the Great Delta, the first CO in 5 generations.
All she needs to understand is that I am the authority here, and my will is to attain the secrets of Thebes.
Mine too. We're in luck. You crossed the ocean on these ships? Couldn't have been easy.
Greatness is never easy.
Indeed. It took 7 years just to build the flotilla. This expedition is the most important undertaking of our generation. A quest for knowledge across the gaping sea with nothing less than the fate of our tribe at stake. And none of it would have been possible without the will of the CO.
The CEO.
voyage was
CEO.
The wilds here even more so. Our sailors and soldiers have suffered much. I know that. But all for the glory of the Quen.
Good to know.
Yeah, I was like, cool. Alright. Bet.
The machine has your people pinned down near Thebes.
A Thunderjaw.
God damn
I've
it.
dealt with them before, but this one is
Tougher, stronger, and it has black armor?
yes. How did you know?
Doesn't matter. It won't be easy, but I can take
That is a long story.
Then destiny shines upon us, as I knew it would. A living ancestor now walks among us, and she will help me attain the secrets of Thebes.
But will we though?
Resupply here if you must. Then
Greatness from small beginnings, just as a certain Francis Drake once said. Exactly.
follow when our scouts confirm you've cleared the
Francis Drake. I should probably close my window in a minute. Well, let's check the outfits. Stitcher. How do you do? Knock the Dragoon. Okay. That one's not too bad, but just don't have. Yeah. Sic Parvis Magna, isn't it? Yep. That's the one. That's the one. That's what's engraved on the coin, isn't it? Of Sir Francis Drake. Actually, can I sell stuff to you? Yeah, probably could, couldn't I? Nice. Got some money back. Let's go. I could probably sell all my traps at this point. I don't use them. Generally don't use them.
Our paths will cross again.
I had that extra slot. Because technically I could just like craft traps and then just like sell them constantly. Well, not constantly, but like if I had the ability to. Okay, so we've got how many? So we've got 2 small, 2 large, and then we'll have.
So many of our people have died in this strange land. Honors your dead.
Okay. Apply your craft and sell your trade. Exactly. Exactly. Cook. Nice. Wait, what foods have you got? Oh, Curd of the Ancients would have been quite nice. And, yeah. Delta dumplings? Yeah, why not?
Recipe taught to me by the legacy.
So, it's true.
I really hope you're here to help, ancestor.
Into a room up?
I didn't believe, but now I see. You truly are an ancestor reborn.
I am.
A good omen if I ever saw one. I'm a scout for the expedition. Whatever I learn of this strange land, I will share with you. As is my duty to the ancestors. I should tell you. My fellow scouts found ancient ruins west of here. They claim to have seen a relic of the ancestors inside, but couldn't find a way to retrieve it. Perhaps a living ancestor could discover a way where others could not.
Probably.
Maybe. If I find myself in the area.
Isle of Spires. Cool. I'm guessing that's like the herbalist guy? Person? Huh.
I will wait to serve.
Okay. Did I just go through a wall? Oh, no, okay. Oh. How the fuck did I get in here? Anywho. Right, I think we're okay now. We can sort of make our way. Oh, yeah, cool. Grab my strider and get out of here.
Okay. Off to the big pyramid to fight the Thunderjaw. Another Cyclops drone. Gotta grab its data to reconnect with the dome back at the base.
Okay, I'm back. Let's head to Thebes. Well, this looks like it.
Run, stranger! There's a killer machine will about. Kill you.
There you are.
Oh, hello.
Guess we're doing this.
Apex Thunderjaw, level 48. Alright.
What if it's question profile? I can use it.
Okay, so it can't shoot at me now, which is nice. Look at the shield. That's the only attack I can do right now. Ow. That was my, There you go. If you weren't the level you are now, this would be a struggle. Oh yeah, that would have been a lot harder than that would have been a lot harder than what I just made it out to be, than what I just did. Like, that's level 48 and I'm level 49. It's like kind of nice.
Come on over, you. A word. You killed that machine.
I did.
Your CEO sent me. I need to speak to Alva.
Please.
By all means, then. Open the gates.
Hey, there she is.
Aloy!
Aww.
Over here!
Hello.
Alva, I'm glad you're okay.
Oh, you got rid of that machine. But what are you doing here?
There's something inside Thebes that I need. I went to landfall. I met your CEO. We came to an agreement, kind of.
And you're going to help us get in?
I guess so. The whole thing was a little tense. There was something off about that guy. And I don't understand what he wants from Thebes. I thought we found the data that your people needed back on the mainland.
That data will take us years to sift through. The CEO wants faster results. Aloy, you have to be careful. He's...
There they are. The legacy tells us that Elizabeth Sobek helped the ancestors cast aside all obstacles. And so it has been today.
She was about to say, wasn't she?
You have been true to your word. I'm pleased. Thebes awaits us below, shall we?
Oh no, we got separated. Oops. You know what I mean?
Quite an excavation.
Much of this was flooded. We had to pump a great deal of water out.
Yeah, this is gonna get ugly, isn't it? It's gonna get ugly real fast. And there's his bunker.
Behold, the door to thieves.
A door like no other.
Well, you're right about that. It's designed to open for only one man. Ted Farrow.
But the legacy tells us that he worked closely with Sobek. He trusted her. Surely she could open the door, and so surely can you.
Not gonna happen. At least not from this side.
You said she was a living ancestor with Sobek's eternal essence.
If I may, Pharaoh, great as he was, did not build his palace alone. We know this from scraps of data we found, the ones that pointed to this location. And we found evidence of passages below. Maybe they were built to aid construction. Or for servants. We can't reach them. The way is flooded and they're too far underwater, but...
Yeah. I can reach them. There might be another way in down there.
You see? With Sobek, there is always a way.
Then do what you must to get us inside.
I'm surprised it hasn't opened for him because he's Ted Farrow. Dang. Let's go. The deep, deep, dark below.
Water's warm. Seems like a hot spring.
Probably built on a volcano or something daft. Would not surprise me.
It's huge. It goes all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah, that's molten lava, kind of. Prepare for an amazing sight. Yeah, well, this kind of looks wild. Not gonna lie. Are we inside a volcano right now? I don't want to get too close.
There's a rupture up there. Maybe a way in.
Oh, right, yeah, that great big rupture that I just totally didn't see.
Yeah. This could get me inside. Hey, looks like this tunnel leads deeper into the structure.
Ah, okay, so that one stops. Okay.
There's gotta be a way to stop that turbine around here somewhere.
Probably this button here, maybe? Beep.
Stop the turbine. Good.
Yeah.
I'm inside, but how do I let the Quinn in?
Gym room. Nice.
Looks like an exercise room.
Get those gains. Shower room, by the looks of it.
The living area. It's pretty big too.
Yeah, I say it's quite an area he's got. Check around. Did I open this door? Did I open? I think I... Ooh. Oh, let's go.
Let's hope this is the way to the main door, so I can let the Quinn in. Look at this place.
Whoa.
It's pretty fancy for a survival bunker. That looks like some kind of access control.
Hold on.
Ah, good. An emergency exit function.
Ink. Dun 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 dun.
Destiny is upon us. I knew you could do it.
What's going on?
The CO is preparing to enter Thebes.
Oh, why are you dressed like Ted Pharaoh?
I am Pharaoh.
Fucking knew it. I fucking knew it.
Across the years, across the generations, his soul is my soul. His will is my will. We are sundered in only one way. I need his final testament, his deepest secrets. And now that the door is open, those secrets...
I want to grab those Omega clearance before he does.
I will be complete as he was. I will have everything I need to save our homeland, and as Pharaoh did, the world.
No, he fucked it up.
Okay. I think there's some confusion here about who Pharaoh really was.
No one knows better than I who he was, who he is. Me. The Renewer, greatest of the ancestors, the man who saved the world. And you. You understand, Sobek. You are her, Pharaoh's harbinger, his assistant. Come.
No.
We will descend.
That's not how it happens.
Together, as it should be.
When one door opens, another one closes. But in this game's case, it's more like when one door opens, an entire room ceilings cave in. Exactly.
Whoa. No, 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 no. No, I am not wearing that. No way.
You will wear the proper attire to mark this moment.
Or what?
It is said Sobek valued life above all else. Is this true?
Fine. I'll wear your raiment.
Ah, a prick, just like Ted Pharaoh. Crazy. Absolute shocker. Yep, she's literally dressed as her. That's interesting.
Excellent. Shall we proceed?
I now stripped of my weapons. That's annoying. CEO more like BEO. Right?
Look at this place. The grandeur.
Pharaoh's domain.
Yeah, just screams, I'm a dickhead.
Excellent. Somewhere in here, Pharaoh left his secrets.
You know, just screams at it, just screams.
Perhaps we should leave guards behind to cover our exits?
Indeed. Let it be done.
Pharaoh's visage. A
Jesus
monument to
fucking Christ.
True, my CEO.
It's a monument to something, I'll give you that.
I'm gonna say, like, that's definitely,
The Emperor will heap rewards upon you for this, my CEO.
You know when you have bad smelling armpits? Oh yeah. Think. Body odor, innit? BO. Oh, like, gotcha. Got it. Right. Yeah.
Remember every detail of his Bohai for posterity.
Yeah, just make sure you remember the part that he's an absolute arsehole. Yeah, no less heated than he deserved for basically getting rid of the entire knowledge library of the human race.
There will be no further discussion of your...
Makes total sense. Now you get it. Yeah, my bad.
Hey, this is weird.
I tried to warn you.
Yeah, sort of.
I'll explain everything if we survive long enough.
Those certainly look threatening.
Statues. The guardians of Pharaoh's domain.
Deathbringers, probably. Every time he speaks, it's just farts. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I don't think they're just statues.
Those aren't statues. Look out!
Get the CO out of here.
Guess it's just us then. Gotta move. Well,
Oh, it's a corruptor, isn't it? Oh, we haven't fought one of these in a little while. Yeah, shut up, please. Please just shut up. Yeah, you know, nothing bad happened. First time this game? I know, right? Yeah, first time this game for the corruptors, yeah. Yeah, I don't really care.
Where's Overseer Bohai?
He has decided to return to the surface. A wise choice. We can't afford to lose any more diviners than necessary. So, no more delays. We must proceed.
Touch nothing but the land. Wait, wrong franchise. My bad.
Yes, that looks like the way.
Yeah, it probably is. It probably is. You want to go first, buddy? Because I'm more than happy for you to go first so you can die. You know? Oh, we have one guard. That's nice.
What is that? A reclining throne attached to some kind of apparatus. I wonder what it does.
Wonder.
Impressive setup. What is it for?
I'm sorry, CO. I don't know. My focus can't read the data here.
What about the living ancestor? Is the data lost to her?
Yeah, it kind of is, you know. It's just, you know, there's just a gap in my knowledge bank, and that's it. It's a medical chair.
Made a minor adjustment to the gene therapy regimen and added a new cocktail to treat the symptoms caused by the mutations. Hopefully, there will be some stabilization after the next treatment.
Oh, God.
God knows what Ted will do to us if there isn't. The early results were so promising. No signs of aging, no cellular degeneration, but now... Oh, if only I had access to my old lab in Bangkok, or my old colleagues, or my old liquor cabinet. Stop it. Got to stay positive. For Kenya.
You saw something. I could tell. Did the data explain what Pharaoh used this device for?
I think he was undergoing treatments to live longer. A lot longer.
Really? Could he still be alive?
Don't be foolish. If he were alive, he would have kept his essence. It would not have been passed down to me. Remember, he was the renewer. Of course, he would have stopped at nothing to grasp the secrets of life and death. But not for himself.
God, I hope this guy dies.
Everything he did.
I don't wish death upon many people, but this guy is one of them.
For us, for the Quen. And for his true heir.
Me.
You know, I'm starting to think you're right. You do have a lot in common with Ted Pharaoh.
I knew you would see, in time. Let us continue.
Oh, you don't even know, buddy. You don't even know. Aloy's been an absolute prick to you right now. It's just funny. Well, he probably does, but he's just hiding it very well. Okay, so let's continue, shall we?
Is that a small office? For a minor functionary, perhaps? Look at all this equipment. We are getting closer to the heart of this place. I can feel it.
Sassy Boss wasn't on my bingo card? I know, right? Crazy.
Break the door down.
I'm going to look for another way in.
Good idea. It's worked before.
Very well. Get to it.
But he deserves it.
Of some sort. Not a bad idea.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Only there was a...
Hurry! Break it open!
Only the... Oh, wait. Is the main appearance in here? That would be kind of funny if it was. Oh no, I'm dead. Ah, I'm being mauled. Oh no. Oh no.
Console. There. Omega clearance. for yourself, Ted.
Somtow's dead. Along with his kid. Found him on the floor of his office this morning, holding hands. Must have poisoned themselves. I never would have put them to sleep. She was just a girl, for Christ's sake. I offered them life, and this is how they repaid me, by leaving me all alone. But I guess I've been alone since this whole thing began. Alone in bearing the burden. For the past. For the future.
Yeah.
Same old Ted. No matter who dies, he's the one feeling sorry for
This is what you're like when playing Horizon Forbidden West. I cannot wait until you play Cyberpunk. I know.
Someday they'll come, and I'll be here to greet them. Sometimes said my aging has stopped altogether. If anything, my cells are replenishing faster than normal.
Oh, he's actually still alive?
Need some time for the mutations to calm down. Time. And energy. Sometimes said the reactor can give me what I need. To grow strong again. To get my shit back together. So I can greet the kids.
Yeah. I bet. Oh, he's in there, isn't he? He's in there. He's in that room.
And then I won't be alone anymore.
Huh. Hi.
Pharaoh's secrets. Are they here?
not the ones you're looking for.
Then they must be in there.
Trust me. You don't want to go in there.
Are you mad? I haven't come all this way to stop now.
Yeah, because isn't Alva's and Aloy's focus is linked, so she's probably seeing what Aloy's seeing. And is like, yeah, don't go in there, buddy.
At last, Pharaoh's legacy is mine. Is that?
It's him.
Burn it to ash.
Wait, no. Pharaoh has it rigged to melt down if...
Kill them too. No witnesses.
Oh, okay, so he wants... Alright, can you try and kill us? Yeah, thanks, buddy. Dead. Dead. Sorry.
I want you dead.
Oh my god, Alva, you're okay.
Rigged the reactor to overflow if he dies. We have to run.
Oh god. CEO, it's time to go fuck yourself. Exactly. I say you want to burn, buddy? That's probably not a good idea. Oh, you have fire arrows. Yeah, I'll use the fire arrows. Yeah, good shout. Good shout, Jax. Good shout. You have to fucking tell me. You can have to tell me twice. Go, 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 go. Now we have a problem.
Hurry, sire. Come on. Out of my way.
Oh, he's dead. Fucking hell, dude. Aww, you still alive? Oh, that's a shame. Good fucking riddance. Oh, you deserved it, little piece of shit. Yeah, well, he deserved it, so... What I can say about that. Oh no! Did we kill your leader? I am so sorry. Oh. I'm so... Yep, just roll in that and die. Come on. Do us all a favour. Please. Thank you. Damn it, I would be a shit list. Listen. Alright? That's why I don't like... That's why I don't hate many people, because if I do... you're gonna get tortured. Like, that's just the way it is. Like, yeah. If I don't like you, then you've got a real problem.
I don't think I'll be able to follow you there.
Just saying. Quick! Quick, run.
Are you okay?
Well,
happened?
We found something that will help. Not just your home.
yes, I will. Don't worry.
Everywhere.
But where's the CO?
He died.
He's gone. I guess you could say he gave his life to help us attain the secrets of Thebes.
I see. You must think I'm eminently stupid.
What? No.
The CO was an entitled egotist who twisted our beliefs into a sickening, self-serving fantasy.
Oh.
Do you expect me to believe he sacrificed himself for scraps of data? It's time for the truth, and it better be convincing. Otherwise, I'll simply order these soldiers to open fire.
Okay.
Hold on. You're right. To be honest, the CO screwed everything up. He brought Thebes down around our ears and died like a gutless coward. But we really did find something down there that will help your homeland. If I can take it and use it. Now, if I have to, I will fight my way out of here, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can just let me go. And then take credit when things start to improve.
Success certainly does sound better than failure. It seems then that our destinies are intertwined.
Yeah, exactly.
Landfall is open to you. If it will help your cause, you may come and go as you please. But Alva must join you and report back on your efforts.
Yeah, we got Alva. Let's go.
Thebes is of no further value to us. Obviously, we're going back to the flotilla. Alva, I expect your reports to be thorough.
Nice enough. You know.
Oh, I thought he was going to have us killed. And instead, I get to join you.
Glad to have you. but you're going to need a little help to reach our base. Varl, I made a new friend. I need you to meet her at the Quen Ferry and escort her back.
On it. Can't wait to meet her.
Aww.
Trust me, you'll love it there. Varl will give you a better focus and all the data you could ever want. Head to the ferry. I'll join you back east as soon as I can.
A diviner must follow the truth, wherever it leads. I'll see you there.
Aw, she's so cute. Why is she so adorable?
Now that I have Omega clearance, we should have what we need to capture Hephaestus.
Okay.
Before I head to the ferry, maybe I should stop by Landfall.
Okay.
See outgone. Maybe more Quen will be willing to talk. Might be worth looking around the island too.
Okay. I'm level 50 now.
Out of these clothes. I can't believe the CO made me play dress up.
Yeah, that was horrendous. Okay. So quest-wise, we got Gemini, which is the cauldron. With Omega clearance secured, Gaia should be able to subdue and capture Hephaestus at Cauldron Gemini. Aloy must prepare for the mission. What was lost? Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that quest. Bing. All the way at base. Okay. Yeah, we'll do Katalo's side quest, and then I think we'll wrap it up there. Ready for maybe. I do recommend continuing the story. It'll make things easier. Okay. I'll say I can you know I can just go and see Gaia and say like, hey, look, I've got Omega clearance now. I'll talk to Katala though. See what he.
You think we can talk?
Hang on.
Aloy, well met. We've been briefed on our mission, and are ready whenever you wish to head to Cauldron Gemini.
Were you able
Will it take
to
long?
the new arm Gaia was helping you with?
Indeed. I was hoping we could discuss it, if you have a moment.
You wanted to talk about your arm?
Indeed. It's time to test it, and I want you to be there.
Okay. How are we doing this?
Not how. Where? Will you meet me where we felled Regala's tremor tusk? Right where the river bends?
Sure, if you want, but I'm not sure I understand.
You'll see when we get there. I promise.
Then I'll let you know when I get close.
You have my thanks, Aloy.
Yes, I do recommend doing it during a full stream. Okay. So, how long will it take me to do this bit?
Do not let me keep you.
Like I said, I'll call you when I'm close to Regala's old outpost near the bulwark.
May the Ten guide your way.
Oh, you're talking about the Gemini quest. Okay. So, you want me to do that now? Or do it, or do that as its own sort of stream? If is that what you meant? I think let me upgrade my skills while we're waiting then. want to do it now? It's up to you. Okay. Yeah, but it's because the thing is, it's 10 o'clock now. I don't want to go like if it's like 2 hours worth, like if it's an hour and a half or whatever. I don't really want to go too long. You know what I mean? That's the thing, because say if it was like 9:30, then I would do it, but because it's you're doing next stream. Yeah, okay. I thought that's what you meant, but I wasn't too sure. Well, okay then. So in that case, we'll do the. Actually, let's go to the fabrication terminal first. We've got new overrides to try and sort. If we can, maybe. Okay, none are available. Okay, that's fine. Oh no, I can. Spikes now. Nice. That's done. Cool. Yeah, I feel like with some because it feels quite like a big momentous moment, like in the story. I feel like it deserves its own stream, basically. So yeah, so we'll. No, I'm glad we clarified on that. That's fine. Right, so let's go. Let's go here then. So we're gonna go see Cortalo. Who's over here? We're gonna have like a duel. I think we're gonna fight each other, aren't we? Funny feeling.
I think this is where Kotalo wanted to test out his... Hey, Kotalo. I'm by the Tremor Tusk site, where we agreed to meet. Want to test that new arm of yours?
I'll be there shortly.
It's for fighting.
Thank you for waiting.
Maybe now you can tell me what we're doing here?
Not just yet. Follow me, please.
He's like, no.
Someone's being awfully mysterious.
You took your sweet time telling me what you wanted to do to the bulwark.
True.
Consider this my revenge.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
This is it.
What am I looking at?
Oh, you'll see. Come.
All right, talk to me, Kotalo.
I wish to test the arm on that. It has menaced the valley for some time.
Oh, a Scorcher.
Few of the Sky Clan. But no longer.
I'm honored to help.
Oh, here we go. Oh, wow. Hey, yo. Let's go. That's fucking sick.
After you.
Oh, handbrake. Fucking course it is. That's awesome, though. He's got his arm. Kind of looked like the end bit looked like something out of Doom with the like the chainsaw, not the chainsaw, the blade, melee blade. Chainsaw its own weapon. boop, 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 boop. Bong, 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 bong. Okay, yeah, so we a couple of minutes of ads, and then we'll do this, test this, we'll do this side quest, and then call it a night, because it'll be a good place to stop before doing more main missions then. Because I think, yeah, when we come back to this on Monday, it'll be, I think there'll be a lot of story, because a lot of the side quests I wanted to do or I've got available, I've already done, so we're gonna like just plow on now towards the end of the end game, if that makes sense. Which, you know, I probably should have been doing, but that's fine. It's fine. We all do our own journeys in our own way, so all part of the fun. Okay. Oh, but no, it's been good. I say we did what, an hour and a half worth of sites. We did a cauldron and a couple bits, other bits and bobs, and then yeah, did main story. So we did the whole like Thebes bit with Ted Farrow, bunker and stuff, and now we're going to finish off with Cortano's getting his arm, getting a metal arm or biotic arm, I suppose, attached. Yeah. All right, cool. Here we go. Answer done. Still.
Let's see how this thing likes the taste of metal.
This will be over quick with frost ammo.
Fight the Scorcher. I forgot how fast it is. What? Why do I need to find out what happened to Ferrica? Oh, is that the DLC area? Oh, let's go. Nice. Let's go. Ah.
Well, I think it's safe to say the new arm works fine.
Agreed.
Then why
I
are
just
you
came.
taking it off?
It just
This is what I am now. What I overcame. Anything else feels wrong. Like a disguise. I'll use the new arm when I need it, but the rest of the time, I will simply be myself.
Yeah, it's side mentioning, Aloy side mentioned like, oh, I can't climb this mountain. Maybe the Tanakh were right. I was like, oh, I just had DLC in my head or something. I don't know. Or maybe it was linked to that, but I don't think it is.
Thank you. I'll see you later then.
The Ten be with you, Aloy.
Yeah, nice. It isn't. Yeah, I thought so. I thought I was spitting out nonsense. Anywho. Right, let's... Left. Survivors. Damn, I'm like... So I got 1, 2, 3... Hold on. 5. So that's 10. 13. 16, 19, 22. I need 22 skill points to get every single weapon technique and skill in this game. I've done Warrior, Trapper, Hunter, and Machine Master. It's just Survivor and Infiltrator left to go. I will say, pretty impressive. Can't lie. Pretty impressive. Okay, so
At least were they soon enough.
we're going to fast travel back to base, and I'm going to save it and call it there. I think that's a good place to leave it up for now. I think. So it gives me a chance to say it's 10:15, so gives me a chance then to wrap up and chill out and get some good sleep time.
You look geared up for battle. Always a smart choice. I've got
Anything new? Nope. Okay, that's fine. Save. So we got to level 50. Got 2 levels today. Very nice. Indeed. Yeah, we are. I think we're going to make it. We're going to just probably start making a beeline now for the story, and then DLC. So, but yeah, that's going to be it for stream tonight. Appreciate everyone popping in for the streams. We hope everyone had a good time as best they could. Just gonna see who's on. Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay, so Baldur's Gate 3 or Black Myth Wukong is probably our main options at the moment. We got Tiny's playing Baldur's Gate 3 at the minute. And then we got Rocker Joe's doing Wukong. That's Tiny is. Fair enough. Tiny's on a BR back. Okay, that's. I believe in you. Hey, Moister, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Yeah, we'll go raid Joe. We'll go raid Joe. So he's playing the new Black Myth Wukong game. So I think he's played a little bit of it already, but this is part 1 of his stream of this game. So we're gonna go say hi to him. He's a good buddy of mine, part of the boys. He's one of the founding members. And yeah, we're gonna go do the thing, and I will hopefully see you all. Well, tomorrow is going to be either Horizon again, or it might be Elden Ring, depending on how Ben's scheduling is at the moment. I think it's tomorrow instead of Saturday, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you all next time, hopefully tomorrow, for more of another stream of sorts. Yeah, let's go start the raid. Oh. Alrighty. But yeah, I appreciate everyone popping in for stream. Hope you have a good rest of your night or day, wherever time zone you are. And I will see you all next time for another stream. Who knows what it will be. But until then, take care of yourselves, everybody. Have a good one.